Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Headspace podcast, where we'll be going through the album and doing a review of the Insane Clown Posse's brand new Joker card drop, Fearless Fred Fury. So what we do here, for those of you that are new, my name's Holden Stefan Roy, HSR.
My name is Chris Chrome.
And you can skip our intro bit if you check the description of the video. For those on TV, flip ahead so you see the Patreon pop-up thing. So what we do here is go through the album track by track, and we give our thoughts, our opinions, whatever struck out to us in the most unstructured way fucking possible. Mostly I care about what the songs are about, and that's just kind of what it is. We let everybody know right off the jump that we are not professionals. To you juggalos out there, while yes, I'm a little bit of a juggalo, y'all know hell a lot more about this universe than I do. For those of you who aren't necessarily juggalos,
universe.
Yeah, the Dark Carnival is a big universe. As you can tell, Chris is giving himself away here. So for those of you who are up on the lore, I really hope you guys drop some comments and some knowledge, because everybody coming to the video benefits from you sharing what you know and for you enhancing it all. Just because that's the kind of community we're trying to build here. I'm super about the comments. I literally answer everybody. Like, secretly, if I see you drop it, I want to answer it within 5 minutes. It's not always possible. It's usually not possible. But if I can, I feel like I accomplished something. Nothing really, but I feel like I did. So we're going to go through Insane Clown Posse's Fearless Fred Fury, brand new album, new Joker card. I think it's the fourth Joker card in this second deck, if I'm not mistaken, because there was Bang Pow Boom, there was Mighty Death Pop, there was Marvelous Missing Link, and then we got this one. Before we jump into it, like I said, we care a lot about the comments, and yesterday I dropped my little solo review of the companion piece to the Fearless Fred Fury album, which is the Insane Clown Posse's Flip the Rap. It's not an EP. The album, it's fucking 12 songs in 50 minutes. It's not an EP. I don't care what they call it. It's a full fucking album, which is a good thing. It's just called the Flip the Rat EP. Anyway, so on that, I got a cool comment from Clownboy. Normally we do last week's video, but this seemed more relevant. It's not a B album discussing the Flip the Rap project. Though Shaggy, even so, they made songs this album. They didn't make it for Triple F and didn't like the song. They just put it on the Flip the Rap. That's just according to Shaggy. But my favorite song of both the albums of Triple F and Flip the Rat is Hawking. So much truth in that song. And surprisingly, he's right. That song really breaks down a lot of... In a conspiracy theory-like way, it breaks down a lot of truth. Like, actually things where if you do double-check it, turns out to be a little more accurate than it sounds, which is an interesting track nonetheless. But that was that project. I reviewed that yesterday. You can check that out after this one if you have listened to all 29 tracks like I have. Anyway, that is that. So if you do comment, we'll have a discussion, and I would love to learn more of your thoughts and opinions just in general on Insane Clown Posse, on this second deck of Jokers. What's your favorite Insane Clown Posse album? All that good shit. Come on, Juggalos. Whoop, whoop. All that stuff. I like Faygo. They sell that shit right up the street. I'm not playing. They sell it right up the street. I only bought Faygo for the first time because of the Insane Clown Posse, because it looks like no-name soda. So I started buying it, and the root beer has this, like... The thing I don't like about Faygo is its low carbonation, is what I can find. Like, I like a higher carbonation level, but with root beer, it just works perfect. And the cherry colas I ate, but cherry Coke's better. Sorry. But yeah, I keep that Faygo there now until Bonnie gets mad at me and gets rid of it, because she doesn't feel the same way I do about Faygo. I saw the Insane Clown Posse in concert. I don't know. I'm just kind of talking. Sorry, this is maybe not that interesting to anybody watching this. Anyway, so we've done the favorite comment. Why don't we do the thing where we thank the patrons: Linda, William, Super Old School 1994, Chris Prado, Carl J, and Ismail Gadamsi. They're awesome. We'll talk a bit about that at the end. And Chris, what album are we talking about today?
So for this week's Headspace album review, what episode is it?
112 or 13 or something
whatever.
higher.
Anyway, we're doing Insane Clown Posse's Fearless Fred Fury.
Yeah, that's the one. So this is the part of the show that I started earlier than I should have, where we just contextualize how much we know the Insane Clown Posse. So Chris, how much Insane Clown Posse have you listened to in your life?
The last album that you reviewed. I didn't end up doing
the
the
Great
show.
Malenko.
Yes, I did listen to that, but like as background music.
So Chris does not listen to the Insane Clown Posse.
No.
This is the perspective of a non-juggalo, we'll say.
Yeah. I mean, I know who they are. I've seen like starting my whole hip hop like introduction. Like I saw them on like Much Music. I saw them on different things. Like I'm not oblivious to who they are. You can't really not forget what they look like. So whenever I saw the faces, I'm like, oh, blah, blah,
What
blah.
he's saying is Miracles became a meme, so I couldn't avoid it.
No, whatever song played in like early 2000 or
Maybe it was Homies.
whatever. I don't know. But I know I've known who they are. I just never willingly went to go and listen to them until this weekend. And
All right. I listened to them for a lot longer, but I only came in around Bang Pow Boom, somewhere around that era. Like I remember the next album dropping, so it was between Bang Pow Boom and the following album, which I don't think it's Marvelous Missing Link. It's whichever one it was. Still, so I started listening around then. I went back in time, and I wasn't experienced enough to know why the older albums were good. I say experienced because they're a lot more pure hip hop, I would say. Like this newer end of ICP feels more like they're really experimenting and using technology to the fullest to create experiences, which is dope. But like that earlier stuff felt more hip hop. So at the time I wasn't into that grittier sound. Now I've come to really like it. So I kind of think it's amazing how they've managed to reinvent themselves. And I would say they've managed to reinvent themselves to become relevant in a modern era, which is not something a lot of artists can do. So the fact that they become multi-generational artists, just like being able to pull it off and like cement that legacy, is really, really impressive to me. I just wanted to throw that out there. But I've been listening for a bit. I did see them live on their Great Malenko tour when they came through Canada recently, so that was dope. And then we reviewed Great Malenko, which was fun because I had just seen it in concert, so that was a good time. I came home, there was like this much Faygo on the fucking floor of the venue when it was done. I think they did 400 2-liter bottles, which is pretty cool. It was a good time, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so I can say that the Insane Clown Posse is a group that since we've started doing album reviews in the end of 2016, I've kind of been really waiting for them to drop something because I was kind of excited. Like we were ready to go in October and it never happened.
Right.
Got pushed. So I was pretty excited for this. I wasn't expecting the twofer. I wasn't expecting the two albums, but I decided we're going to trench in and, we did them both. So Flip the Rat I already listened to in full, and then it came to this one. But it was cool. Like, I played this Fearless Fred literally midnight when it dropped before I went to bed on like the fucking Friday morning, right? Like I'm on vacation from work this week, so I never get to do that. This was kind of like a really fun, like I felt like I'm 21 again moment just in general. But we can move into it. So basically they have every album like in their Joker card series has the Joker.
I need to explain that whole like double deck thing very quickly and what these characters are.
So they have a Dark Carnival, which is just the universe they've created, and every album reflects like a Joker card thing, which you can just to simplify as like some demon of some form. Every album reflects a specific niche. So Great Malenko's like illusions and all sorts of ways life will trick you and blah blah blah, religion, politicians, that kind of shit. And then I don't know, this album is Fearless Fred Fury. So what we're doing on this album in theory is to go, every song is kind of exploring the lore of Fearless Fred Fury, which is also a satirical commentary on a particular type of person who, if I'm not mistaken, in this album is your average person who's like passive aggressive, who just takes all this shit and never fights back. And this kind of invokes, if you live like this, the consequence is that Fearless Fred Fury is gonna come. And so all of these songs kind of describe shit, and the way he would like manifest is kind of the way an ICP album would work, with different skits and shit. And then in this case, Fearless Fred Fury, and if we talk about just the cover for a second and you look at it, you'll see that there's a little rat in his little pocket.
Yep, nice.
And so when you look at the Fearless Fred, the Flip the Rat EP, it's just kind of zoomed in on the rat, and it's like the side adventures of the rat, which I thought was cool that we got like that little split experience. But yeah, so the name is kind of just Fearless Fred Fury. So when you're fearless, it's almost like, I guess, he's the absence of fear. He's the response to being living in fear to that extent. Fred because of alliteration, and Fury because you rage out because of alliteration. Let's be honest, that's why the album's called that. It's good alliteration. Still, then the cover is typical. You're gonna see the visual side of what every like Joker card has a specific icon, and this is this one's, and it's fine. It's okay. It doesn't strike me in any significant way to look at this album cover. I don't know if it does for you.
It was again, I expected some type of clown face looking. I expected some type of demonish, I guess, type when I heard the name first. So they're really good at like having that cartoony album cover look at it. So it was cool. My only thing was like just there's no name to it. Like on the album, there's just no name.
Yeah, you just see like it's like you don't need the name.
Right,
that's Fearless Fred.
Right, like that was just something like I guess I kind of found interesting a little bit too. It was just like nobody, you either know who they are or like you're intrigued to find out, more or less.
I mean, on the other hand, you're right, but we are talking about, you know, something that's like 10 albums into a particular series. So
No, I completely understand. I'm just saying, like, again, I'm this is my first actual album that like sitting down reviewing and the whole thing. So like even for me, like I was like, oh, I saw the album cover and I was like, okay, that's cool. Like you either get, for me, I get the feeling of that's ICP, or I want to figure out what this is. Like, it's just, it was a cool little kind of like cartoon villain character to it.
Which I think is really cool. I just think in general, the fact it adds like a certain sense of personality. Like just the fact that they chose to use red and black makes you feel more aggressive, more anger, more passion. And I feel like it's really well done. I don't know. But like, I really don't think his face is my favorite. I mean, I don't know. I was just quickly looking through. Like, I think something like the Great Malenko or even the Bang Pow Boom ones are actually like cooler covers to me, or than this one. But it's fine. He's got his little crowbar. He's got his fist. He's ready to wreak havoc. His rat's gonna eat some shit. Are you ready to jump into it? Are you ready to start talking? This one is starting with an intro.
A constant lack of self-respect. Your low motivation.
All right, Chris, how do you feel about this intro? What does it do for you?
I like the intro. I think that introducing this character was really cool. The build up to the album was really on point. I like how it kind of starts off just pride, dignity, and anticipation for life. Do you possess these traits, or do you let others walk all over you? Like, I like how the I guess narrator, demonic, satanic sounding voice or whatever, who's kind of describing who Fearless Fred is, questioning what people, like, I guess people in general, as he kind of like summons Fearless Fred a little bit. So that was cool to me. I liked how they kind of defined that Fearless Fred Fury is measured by your own lack of self-respect, not being able to kind of like defend yourself or feel your like self-worth. And that's in a way, and thinking like this is really dark and really, like, there's going to be some really heavy, I guess, lyrics or whatnot. There's also this sense of like wanting to be supportive in terms of like Fearless Fred is just there because you can't seem to protect yourself in a way. Like, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from who this character is. But I do like the intro. I do like the cinematic feel to it, the whole vibe the kind of atmosphere it puts you into. So I left it at a 4.
Yeah, I mean, so it comes in, and I mean, this is something I guess I was expecting. Is just this intro track to set the context, and it's something I've been really noticing about what I think a good album intro is. Like, you can start with a song, that's totally fine, that's a way to do it, But if you're going to do the intro route, then your intro needs to do something in particular, in my opinion. And even your first song on your album, its goal is ultimately to do this. Is to take your person from whatever they were doing in life prior to listening to this project, and it's to like suck them into the universe that is this album. And in my opinion, a good album fundamentally will bring you into its world, and it'll bring you on a journey, and when you're done that journey, you get to go back to your life. It's almost like a good album in a sense is like an audio movie, and I think that this introduction does a really good job at accomplishing that goal. From a music front, it's really sparse, and then it's got some weird like 90s Fight Club EDM type sound going on, and then it just kind of like gets clowny for a bit, like carnival-y and shit. Like you almost get the branding, like, yeah, this is ICP, but you also get the tone of like the feeling of what Fearless Fred is supposed to be through this music. And you get the sense that he represents the dead who are pissed off at people who are wasting their life through cowardice. Like, basically, if you have problems or things that are blocking you, confrontation, if you're basically playing a victim card, and I think it's specifically people who are just consistently victims, people who are never able to change their circumstances. And it's like, as much as they have attacked a lot of aggressors over the course of their career, there's always some type of person, like I think like Mighty Death Pop is like extreme people with like thrill-seeking type behaviors and just kind of making fun of that ridiculous push it to the edge mentality. Here they've managed to do something where I think the target is a lot more granular. I think this is the most you, the regular person listening to it, is the target of this album that they may have done, to my knowledge. I don't know all of the lore of all the albums, but it felt very much like this is talking to the average fucking American who is just sitting there letting shit happen to them in a bigger sense with all the awful government shit and whatnot going on. I mean, they're pretty fucking liberal based on what I've seen in their other albums. Still, I thought it was really strong. I like how they kind of introduce them, and they make sure to like drop the rat, which is kind of like the Easter egg album. Like in technically to get that album in a legit way, you're supposed to purchase the physical copy of the disc, which comes with a code that lets you then buy this other album. I found it on YouTube. So that's what I rolled with. Thank you, YouTube. You're a wonderful platform. I don't know why they did this cheeky move, but I bet they made hella bank off of people who just... And you know what? Flip the Rat's a good album. It's fucking good. We'll talk a bit about my feelings on that at the end.
Well, what if people didn't know about the EP? Like, it could have been like also a reward surprise. Like,
they announced the fuck out of it. Either way, his pet rat Flip feeds only off the fear instilled within you by Red Fred. You know, like, it's almost like Red Fred hypes you up, and then the rat plays his part, and he enjoys to eat on what your fear is like and shit. It's cool. Like, the way that they are so imaginative with this concept. Like, you can tell that they took a lot of time to conceive this shit in a realistic way and tried out different things until they really hammered it out. And when I realized the amount of effort they put into the concept, I felt kind of okay with the delay and everything. But I give it a 4.25 as an intro. It serves its purpose, but it doesn't really reinvent the wheel or do anything special. It just does a good job at what it's supposed to do. Nice. And it flows immediately into the following song, which is Red Fred.
Yeah. Fred is your agony source. Yeah. Fred's punishment's void of remorse.
So the Fight Back kicks in, and my first thought is, hey, there's a song called Fight Back on Flip the Rat. And I realized that was cool to me, that they're able to do that. Like, essentially, it's like what Fred wants you to do is to fight back. Mm-hmm. So it's cool to drive that in at the beginning as just like, this is a core tenet, and it shows up in like at least 4 songs I can think of, this specific Fight Back sample. What did you think of this track?
Well, just speaking about that whole fight back there, like, I like that chanting. I like that type of energy, again, in this kind of like, you know, violent, dark way. They're kind of trying to support people in terms of like standing up and, you know, kind of like stand up to bullying, stand up to this, stand up to that. Like, don't let yourself be walked over. So that was really cool. The song... I had a little bit of problems with the song itself, just like listening to it, because it didn't really kind of, I don't know, it didn't have that sort of flair that I guess, like, I was expecting from the intro. It was just weird a little bit. The flows were okay. I enjoyed how they kind of depicted who Red Fred was, and how I kind of got this this imagery of him kind of like walking down the street, kind of showing up, and you got the whole kind of thing going. So it was really cool. I did like the line when Violent J says, "Yeah, yes, Fred's there both in life and death. Yes, Fred begins, we ain't nothing left. Fred won't hurt you. No, he'll do worse when Fred's nearby screaming or curse." Like, I thought that was cool. I thought that, like, I felt like when all else fails, there's this thing there, this entity that is kind of, and like they're using curse because it's like the dark carnival, right? It's supposed to be all like demon and bad, but like in a way it could also be like just this spell or this positive energy in a way that could be to help you again fight back, the repeated mantra. So it was a cool song. I did leave it with a 3.7 though, just because it wasn't really feeling, I wasn't really feeling the instrumental. I didn't really feel like it was really trying to catch my ear. There was more of just like an anthem, if anything, but I don't know, it wasn't for me.
You know, I want to touch on the instrumental too. I think that is the worst part of this song. It's really flashy. Like, it's really pulsy and industrially and all sorts of sounds coming in on through and stuff, but in some cases, I think they went a little too far with it. And this is definitely one of those cases. Like, it's so hard to focus on anything in this song because the vocals are competing with the beat for my attention. Now, in some cases, there's just a lot happening, and you listen to it 3 or 4 times, and the more you listen to it, the more your brain will like organize and filter it out and, you know, kind of put everything in its proper perspective.
Right.
I just felt that 4 or 5 listens of this song later, it really just felt flashy still. Like, it felt like a lot of flash. And that's just what, like, the beat and the polish and like the pop on this sound. It sounds like they were pushing for loudness, and it's really hard to really enjoy the composition of the instrument. Like, some of the beats on this album are just like, damn, that's a fucking cool beat. This one to me felt more like, that's a lot of noise. It reminded me a bit of that like Explosions one where it's really dubsteppy from, I think, Marvelous Missing Link Lost or whatever, that first single that came off that. It was just like the beat was loud and in your face, but at least that one, it was kind of like, you know, cool and new and interesting. It feels like they've ran with that and turned it up a few notches, and I don't know. I enjoyed the sound of it, right? Because I could picture the live show version of this, right? The CD version of this is whatever. Mix this in with some Fago and a Crazy Light Show, though, and I think you're talking about a really good, as you put it, like banger or whatever, anthem type sound, like something that you can just really vibe to in a more live setting, but kind of isn't the best, in my opinion, for like the headphones sitting around environment.
I guess it's because, like, I want to say like Mob Mentality, like it kind of brings up that whole rage, that whole, like, especially with the fight back and like that energy they bring through that. Like, it's good in a way. And I just wanted to say, like, I do admire the because you were talking about the flashiness of the song, right? Like the beat and everything. And in a way, I guess I can somewhat admire it in terms of representing who Fearless Fred is. Like, just when I look at it from like a cinematic point of view of like introducing and the character's kind of coming down and he's coming to get you and he's kind of like coming down your block or whatnot, like I could see them trying to present that flashiness, I'm here now, like I ain't ready to fuck around type shit. Like I could see that. I really like how they're trying to be very creative with what they're doing.
The problem then, if we want to talk about creative, is in a sense I can call that the flows and shit, the way that Violent J is flowing is creative. And I say that because I really believe he's willing to do anything, like any flow. He'll try it, and he's like so open-minded, and he's so all over the place. As a listener, I find that puts you in a position where, due to the vast range and versatility of what an Insane Clown Posse project is going to bring to you, and you guys all know their like palette of diversity is insane. Like, they'll do anything, literally any sound, any genre, anything. And Violent J can sort of sing. I mean, he can sing, but he has one of those, he can sort of sing kind of singing voices. Like sometimes it hits, and sometimes it's like the third verse of this song where he's just like, yes, Fred's the revenge you never got. And you're like, what? See, I'm fucking coughed. That was embarrassing. But yeah, no, he's just like straining his voice. It's like, I did not enjoy that third verse. Mostly because it sounds like you're trying too hard. The first two verses are kind of cool, though. I really do like the flow. Like, no, Red Fred, he does not forgive. No, after you meet Fred, you don't live. No, like, it's got a cool chantiness to it. Mm-hmm. It's basically an A flow. Like a ba ba da ba ba da ba, hey, ba ba da ba. That's all it is. It's just a repurposed A flow, and I'm okay with that. That's really cool. It's very blunt, and it's just kind of painting this picture of like, Fred's gonna get you, right? Don't ever think Fred only playing. Face Fred, it ain't no use in praying. Fred enjoys all that hoe ass crying. Escape Fred, it ain't no use trying. Red Fred, spreading. You know, like, there's a sense that like this attitude is toxic. It's going everywhere, but like, let's be real, the song doesn't really go deeper than that. He's just kind of wails out about Fred, and it's kind of like his theme song. Then Shaggy comes in, and you realize when Shaggy comes in that Shaggy's not that present on this song outside of this little bit. The woo, get punished, motherfucker. You have been a had hoe. Shit, you been a sad hoe. A sad motherfucking soy sack of pussy shit. And you know what? That's the best part of this song. Shaggy 2 Dope coming in with his clown-ass voice doing this shit. Red, you know, scared to get yours, scared to have nuts. Red Fred gonna punish you for being a pussy hole, and since you a pussy hole, get fucked, motherfucker. You're just like, that little bit that Shaggy did is like a good thesis statement for this album in a sense. And I feel like he really steals the show on this introduction. And then we get the third verse from Violent J where he just... Like, here's the thing. I feel very mixed about it. It's well made, and it's really well done.
Right.
And it serves its purpose. And you know what? If I was live and depending on my state of mind, I'm totally feeling this song. And there's nothing intrinsically wrong with it. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's kind of really good, except that it's so shiny. I don't know. The more we've talked about it, the more I feel like I gave it too high of a grade with a 4.25 now. I feel like it's more like a 4. So I'm going to give it a 4. It's a 4 on 5. It's fine. There's a lot of great shit on this album. So don't think this is Debbie Downer bullshit up in here. Please don't come at me with your fury.
When he's lunching, cause everything neck up could no longer function. Still I tortured him to death in my dungeon.
Like here we are. Good shit. Like, this is what I was hoping for. Some high quality fucking interesting shit. Like, you know what I'm really enjoying? These old men doing trap music. And that's what we're getting here. This is ICP trap music, right? I mean, in terms of the flow.
Yeah.
I got in my home and I ran in my room and I cut out the lights and the pressure consumed me and bad in my bougie and bad in the bougie and Migos and
No, this song, no, I'm sorry, this song sounds like Alpha Omega.
It's basically, they're all the same triplet flow. It's just every triplet flow.
Like the beat slightly has that
okay, so my main point on this song is it's like Tech 9 beat, because the beat's more like a Tech 9 song, meets the Migos flow, which is not the Migos flow, I know. It's like,
it's the triplet,
which is actually traced back to 3-6 Mafia a lot earlier, and guess who signed to Psychopathic? The Mafia 6. So, you know, I'm not trying to like mock it. I say the Migos flow because that's the pop culture understanding of this flow, not because I know that it even predates fucking 3-6 Mafia's use of it, although I'm forgetting which one it was. Now it makes me look like an asshole. Still, fucking dope. I mean, this song just comes in, and honestly, like I said in the last one, you hear Violent J coming in, and then you hear Shaggy, and Shaggy motherfucker steals this show.
Okay, I wanna just say something first. I like how in verse 1, Violent J kind of like, I got home, ran to my room, cut the lights off. Like he's kind of setting up this whole imagery. Like again, I like how Violent J does the storytelling. It's really
Yeah, it's
good
really
for me.
nice.
And then like, he's like tears falling upon a shotgun, I'm cocking. Like, okay, you got that picture. He's going crazy, and then blah 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 blah, and it kind of follows suit. And I like that. One line I really liked was Red 665 on the clock radio. Now, for me, I think that's like kind of symbolizing, 666, Red 666. He's one step away from becoming the devil. Like that was pretty cool to me. I thought that was awesome. But also, I've seen, if any of you know if 665 is a legitimate thing, like they've said it on the album. There's
Like I understood it to be branding for Fearless Fred Fury. I don't know if it predates that personally. Like I've seen it with like marketing on their Twitter and shit for Fearless Fred.
Okay, then fine. But other than that, like anyway, I like how again Violent J kind of just gives you this whole picture. Then at the end of the first verse, he's like, it woke me up in the simple fact that I'm pissed. You find out like he's kind of self-realizing that, and that's cool. Second verse, he's just fully violent. He's like murdering this mother and killing this person, and he's just like going ballistic.
Yeah, because that's like what it is. You're basically a wanky whiner sitting around in your room pouting, and you're all sad, and
Right.
you're letting life consume you, and that's when Fearless Fred Fury gets you, and you go psychotic, and you turn into a murderous psycho filled with fury.
Absolutely. So I enjoyed that, and then we go to Shaggy, and for me, I'm thinking right off, I'm sucker punching. Like here's the first couple lines of Shaggy's verse to me. I'm sucker punching, it's suckers I'm punching, squeeze the cocksucker throat, hear the bones crunching.
That's
He'll
what it
need a
is.
vegetable tube when he's lunching, cause everything neck up could no longer function. Now, here's my thing.
It just sounds so dope the way he spits it,
It
man.
does sound dope, and it's super cool, but I don't get it, cause then in second's verse, in verse 4, he's kind of takes on the same type of like second verse that Violent J does. He kind of releases like the demons and all this stuff and what he's gonna do and with the blood and all this shit. But I'm like, okay, wait, where is the part that Fearless Fred needs to show up for Shaggy in verse 3? He's already knocking motherfuckers out.
I think it's just in general this mentality is
Okay.
kind of where it is. Or you don't necessarily, maybe verse 1 is the only one that there's the weak guy, and then every other verse is the infatuation. Like I'm not that worried about it. What I was really thinking is that on this song you see a really big split in the vocal performance of Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope. More than the lyrics. Violent J is crazy and animated and doing all this kind of stuff with his voice like non-stop, which I like. But then I realized I also kind of like it when Violent J raps his fucking ass off like abracadabra, boom shakalay, I'm Violent J and I'm back like a vertebrae. Like, yes, he's animated and shit there, but it feels more like he's rapping his ass off than he's trying to be like a theatrical performer. Here it feels like the theatrics is almost more important than the rap. Whereas when Shaggy comes in, no. Shaggy is rapping his motherfucking ass off and he's spitting rhymes. And another thing is I like how he kind of brings in Flip. The corpse laid there rotten, become hella pungent and perfect for Flip and his friends to be munching. Because that is kind of the consequence. Like some shit's gone on. Like Fearless Fred's come in, and then you see like the aftermath, and then you have like the rat coming in to eat off the joy of all the destruction caused
I like
by
how they
Fearless
keep
Fred.
connecting that. Like they keep. I like that the consistency with the character build. Like they didn't just forget about the rat. Like that's still there.
And I like how he like kind of again adds into the lore. Like Fred Fury taught me revenge is the way. Payback's even worth waiting for years. Fight back, taking a chance again with a jab, repeated offense. It would have perhaps, like. So like you again get that lore building. I guess it's more. I feel like Shaggy takes a much more hip hop approach to it. Is what I'm noticing now, and Violent J is more of like a performer with it. And I'm not saying that he's not rapping. That's not what I'm trying to say, but by comparison, Shaggy is rapping his ass off, whereas Violent J is almost singing with it,
Fair enough.
I also don't know how I feel about like the fuck all that forgiving the other bitch. I will murder your mother, bitch. I'll store your head in the cupboard, bitch. Fuck all that dying and crying and whining. All I want revenge. I don't die, bitch. Murder go round, you gon' ride, bitch. Fuck all that, bitch. Suicide, bitch. Like, I don't think it's that clever. To me, it sounds like he's trying to be really shocking, but without like literary dopeness to attach it. And I'm not even saying Shaggy's like next level with it, but bitch, I done rattled to tears, bitch. Fury to spawn out of fears, bitch. I'll stab a screwdriver deep in your each ear till I know what you hear me and fear me and clearly smack me. My paint never smears, bitch. I just even feel like with Shaggy, at least there's a little bit more imagination with it, a little bit more effort to be like something with it, you know? And this is my preference. Y'all can enjoy what you like out there, but I really enjoyed this song. Don't get me wrong. This is really cool to me. I give this a 4.6 on 5. I think it really does what it's supposed to do. I think that chorus is sick. It has that fight back drilled in. I think the hearing them do like the more triplety kind of flows and shit is really dope. I think Shaggy is just excellent with it. Violent J a little less so. Otherwise, like I'd be calling this a near perfect song.
I gave it a 4.2. I kind of stand by how I feel. I think that I prefer Violent J on this track just in terms of those two different verses, showing the context of kind of like being one and then kind of flipping into the other. I do really like Shaggy 2 Dope's verses as well. They're performed really well. I do agree he'd kind of taken more of a hip hop aspect to what his performance is. But I guess for me, I was a little just thrown off. Like he was just more kind of violent and kind of going with the punches right off the bat instead of kind of giving me this like changed feel or whatnot. I guess that's just how I interpreted it for me.
I also think that there's not like a set rule to how a song
absolutely.
is. I do want to point out that the alliteration on the little interlude, the Fred Fury is all in your feeble, fearful flows, formulating into one ferocious flood in the afterlight whose fiery face will fuck you up. It was fun. It was in a weird clown voice. I enjoyed that. Anyway, the next track on this album is a little bit of a parody. I think we can call it a parody. It's called West Vernor Ave. This song is fucking amazing. I really liked it. First of all, it's Violent J rapping. Shaggy 2 Dope rapping pretty much the whole song, whereas really Violent J only kind of shows up. Maybe he does the chorus. I don't know who does the chorus, but he does a little bridge thing. I thought that was kind of nice. It was like, hey, because you know what? There's not enough Shaggy on this album. I'm going to say it now. This is like, I'm appreciating all the Shaggy because Violent J does that animated shit on every song. You know, that's kind of part of what it is. Like on nearly every song, he's doing it. So part of me was like, come on, man, just rap your fucking ass off a couple times. And he did a couple times. But when I heard this and right off the jump, you're just like, so I'm marinating at home, sipping cheap wine in the recline. I'm on bottle 2, so this beast's fine. Bitch giving me a lap dance, but honey heavy. She weighed more than a 3500 Chevy. You know? It's she lifted up her belly, wax surprised, pussy had fro like the Jackson 5. It's fun, it's punny, it's witty, it's a little bit extreme and shit. But then he does something that's really fucking dope. He samples in a fucking ghetto voice from the song Scarface. I took a look, the girl was cooked red, exploded, reached for the Uzi, and then he just cuts that off and keeps going at my foot and unloaded. And the fact that he was able to kind of give that nod to the ghetto boys like that, to me, is fucking, that's what you're supposed to do in hip-hop a little bit. Like, you're supposed to make that effort to show some love to your, like, elders and whatnot. So that was super cool of me. And then you're like, killed somebody, grandma across the street, they all gonna die. No, they can't hide. As soon as we find out who, basically somebody shot at him. That's what I understand. Yep. We're gonna ride down to West Vernor Avenue.
That killed me the first time I heard it.
Fire. And you're just like, what? You're just like,
they sampled Electric Avenue.
You gotta walk onto electric. Yeah, it's exactly that, but it's funny because it really just shows them going down to do a fucking street sweeping drive-by. Anyway, and then he goes and just keeps going. The southwest side is like Baghdad. Yeah, people kill for a gang rag. Yeah, if you're my enemy, I'll make your brain hang. And it's like, damn, is Shaggy like really spitting some almost like street shit going on? And it sounds pretty decent, in my opinion. I can't say. I know that they have like a past, these guys from like way back when. But I really appreciate it. He's like we asked Big Red and Meth Head Sally. Yeah, I took a second, got head in the alley. It's like, yeah, I saw the meth head. I figured, well, what the hell? Here's $10, And it's just so silly coming in. Then Jay calls up and shows that they're gonna get him, and he finishes the song. And overall, I felt the juxtaposition of that absolutely ridiculous use of Electric Avenue mixed with a killer fucking beat. That beat is just stellar. It's just good. Shaggy bounces off that shit like this is A grade shit, man. I'm giving it a 4.75. This is one of the standout tracks on the album in my opinion.
This song really blew me away in terms of Shaggy's too dope storytelling. So far, I haven't really gotten any storytelling-esque feel from him. So this was cool. I like how he sets us up in the first verse, kind of he's doing his own thing at home. He gets shot at. He has to kind of find revenge. Second verse, he's kind of chilling around, trying to figure out what's going on. By the third verse, he's like been waiting around for 3 hours. And you kind of get this like feeling that he's really connected in a way. Like he knows this person, he knows that person. Like some metalhead bass chick is the one who like snitched on the people that kind of shot at him. So you can kind of tell that he's out there. He's been around. This is like kind of just normal for him in a way. Like this is just a day in his life. So I found that to be really cool. I do agree that mixing in Electric Avenue is just a mind throw, to tell you the truth. I mean, I wasn't expecting that, and it was cool to hear. It was fun. It was energetic. It was silly. It was laughter. It was everything you could think of. I left it with a 4.5.
Before we move on, we have one of those good old skit things on this one, and I feel like there weren't enough skits. Maybe because they did more storytelling stuff, they felt they didn't need as many skits, but this one kind of sets you up with these rich folk, and you're going to get some hurdles, and for the first time ever, you're going to get a what the fuck?
The world's a giant battle royal of turmoil, pillages on each other's villages.
So when I heard what the fuck for the first time, it was like when it dropped. So let's say the second time is when I'm like, I've already now basically listened to the Flip the Rat EP over and over again. Now apparently What the Fuck was a single and it's been out for a while. I didn't hear it yet. I only heard it after this album came out. But it just reminded me of like a worse version of Hawking. Like Hawking was a much cooler version of what this song wants to be, in my opinion. Hawking, in the same vein as this song, kind of just brings up a bunch of random shit. Only Hawking kind of brings it up in a more like serious kind of conspiracy theory way. He does a conspiracy theory like, but like actually does it in a way where, it comes off like it sounds a certain way, but he's saying a lot of truthful things. This just feels a lot more like random. Like it has a little intro of his kid Freddy's just as good as any other kid in the world right now. Like any other kid, dude, splendid. I'm like, okay, so Freddy's kind of like anybody. Anybody could be like Freddy, which is fair. I felt like this was meant to be a very universal, be careful with how you handle your life or this will happen to you. But just off the jump. So we're going to build a wall to keep the aliens out. Huh? The fucking long way home's the safer route, huh? The kids are dying, starving from the drought. They found a dead girl with their brains drug out. They executed the wrong man the other day. They checked his DNA after it wasn't him. Another nuclear disaster mashed hole. Some asshole dropped his wrench off the scaffold. I'm like, this is some vapid what the fuck shit. It's very top level. It's very just like, oh, these are things I saw in news headlines. What the fuck is going on in this world? Now, why I say it's like Hawking's, but like worse, is because Hawking's went like kind of specific and some really like you can Google those things and they like are actually fact checkable. And it was really surprising how much truth was dropped into that song. Whereas this, I mean, yeah, everybody knows this shit's happening. It just feels so top level, like. Like
I feel like
the world's a giant battle royale of turmoil, pillages on each other's villages and burning oil. And it's like, I mean, yeah, but damn, did you manage to take an interesting topic like this and do, like, in my opinion, almost like nothing with it. Just like, why is a wonderful thing like living on this beautiful planet we've been giving so fucked up? Like,
But I think there's a kind of like essence to having a simplistic type of message, and then the way that they kind of use like the what the fuck and the freaking out and the going crazy on the chorus. But that's really the only good thing I have to say about this song. I don't really like it. I think that it's really noisy. I think that I don't like the chorus at all. Not because of what they're saying. I like what they're saying. They're questioning what the fuck is going on. They kind of want to know why we kind of treat this beautiful place like trash. Like, again, in this weird, dark, twisted way, there's this type of positive message that I keep finding and getting from these guys. So it's like there is some type of good.
It's like, so that church is full of that bullshit donor. You just paid for Viagra, the preacher's boner, and he didn't buy it for his sweet wife Judy. Nah, he rather some of that little boy booty. As much as like I can appreciate the sentiment of saying that organized religion's full of bullshit and it's fucked up that Catholic priests is fucking boys and shit and that they take your money and exploit. Like, all of these are valid things to say, but the way he says it, and like, it just sounds like fucking newspaper headlines. Like, maybe that's the whole point. He said this whole song is newspaper headlines. And what the fuck, this is our whole world. But considering I know how deep he can go, I felt this was like vapid as fuck. That's like the content here. It's so superficial. Like, the prisons are too crowded, huh? Fresh butt rapist out in 2 months or less. And if he's on his best behavior like he oughta, he's out even quicker to slaughter your daughter. Like, what? I mean, maybe. It's like, I find it just problematic if you're gonna try to do like this kind of satire. Like, do it right, you know? Like, this just comes off a little disingenuous to me. Like, it sounds like you're trying to just be shocking, but nothing you're talking about is shocking, because the actual news versions of what you're describing are more shocking than your shocking rhymed version of it, is I guess my problem with it. Like, life's kind of fucked up right now. You're right. So be fucking fucked up. Be like, Facebook controls Myanmar's, like, or WhatsApp in Myanmar creates fucking genocide. That's a fucking what the fuck moment, you know? Like, use big words. Be blunt. Do what you did on, like, fucking Hawking. That was cool. Or is this like the milk is good for the bones when all it really does is gives you bones? It don't make them hard, it makes them soft. Just cut out the middle, man. It blew my head up. And I get it. This might be part of like, and I say I get it because it's probably just showing again the characteristic of who Fearless Fred is going after. This vapid idiot.
Right.
And I guess as I'm saying it now, that makes more sense. And like, the concept is good, but somehow I feel like it just misses the mark. Still, I respect that it's well made, but there's still a lot of noises. There's a lot going on here. It's hard to focus on anything in particular, in the same way I was describing with Red Fred, but I liked it less, so I give it a 4.1. And I'm saying a 4.1 because it is pretty good. Like, it's not a bad song by any means. It's just vapid, and I wish it could have been more. It's not what I would have hoped for with that subject matter, you know?
I give it a 3.7.
Yeah, Chris isn't feeling this as much. Keep in mind, I do like other songs on this project. In
So
fact,
do I.
one of the ones that I really like a lot more than the previous one is called Satellite, the next song on this album.
Sad fool, you got kids that love you, and if not, you got a roof above you. And
I like this song. I can't even help it. It's just like, stop whining, man. Appreciate what you have, and, you know, life is pretty cool. You know, that's essentially the twist of it. So it's the same. It's the same core topic, like complaining and whining and not changing your life circumstances and shit. Only here, I love Violent J's rapping on this. Like, this, I feel like he's fucking rapping here. Like, I feel like he's just trying to go in. Like, your life's shitty. Wow, is that what you said, man? Try and tell that to a dead man in the red, man. Stressed in the head, man. No bitch in the bed. Yeah, I've been there. I'm like, damn. That's pretty, like, you know what? I know life can be shitty. I've been there. I had a shitty life too. But, like, you know, if you really think about it, try and steer you up here, Sabu. That'll cheer you up, sad fool. I don't really know what the Sabu line means. Sorry. I just don't. You got kids that love you, and if not, you got a roof above you, and if not, you got two legs beneath you, and if not, at least you ain't getting beat down and shot. That's a good point. If you really, really want to think about whatever your circumstances are, the real point here is that there is some worse shit. And I'm like, damn, this is like really fucking mature and shit. And then the way the beat flips up with it, you still got a lot, a little spot, a little car, a little pot, tube sauce, and dude on the block is sleeping on 2 rocks. It's just like, damn. It gets kind of funky, pointing out some of the good shit, and then really adding contextualize, like how many, like there's at least several people I think that have died of like freezing in Montreal. Like I was at the Metro the other day as they were taking a homeless person into the ambulance, and Metro's our subway. We live in a French place. And I was not sure if he lived. I haven't seen him again, so maybe he died and he froze to death and shit. So all things considered, if that isn't happening to you, that's pretty good, you know? So load the jukebox and do a few shots because you ain't got a tombstone like Tupac, you know? As long as you're alive, there's something here. Then that chorus is beautiful. Bless me with the sight of a satellite. I can't always see from here. Can't always see clear from down here, you know? The bigger picture type shit. Like, I wrote a song called Cosmo, and it's on my first project. It's on Spotify and shit. And a lot of the concept was kind of like how aliens see the planet looking down. It's not exactly the same thing, but it is kind of just that looking down, like how we treat our homeless people and stuff, like how we complain, how we treat the worst of our society is interesting to me, at least. But I feel like Shaggy is really cool. He comes in and he follows suit. He's rapping. He's doing it proper. Let's be real, because you a cocksucker, motherfuckers like you is just not the best line ever. It's just not.
It's not.
But it still sounds fine, and I forgive it. And then he follows that up with, ain't motherfucking right, dude, I'll fucking fight you. And I appreciate that. Like, you know, when you realize that these fucking people are whining toxic waste of your energy, it does make you want to fight them. Like, they're fucking wasted times. I also liked how he calls out, like, Isham's name. My homie Isham pointed out the worst punishment for crime is when they fuck off your time, you know? And he's pointing out, as long as you still have time, as long as you can still go do shit, there's nothing at a loss, you know? And I really believe in that myself. So quit yelling, life sucks, adore this, you'll understand when you're full of rigor mortis. It's kind of like, as long as you're here, keep pushing. And I'm like, damn, like, what's worse than traffic? A fucking hearse. That's worse than traffic, dog. And I'm like, this was so unexpected, but I also thought it was really well made. It was almost uplifting with the music, completely left field in terms of sound, but really, they hit it proper. For me, this is a 4.5 on 5.
I do agree. I really like the positive.
Sorry. The Rick Ross cut was fucking weird and unnecessary. The every day I'm hustling.
Yes,
It broke the flow. It didn't fit. It just like it stopped and broke everything.
It didn't do as well as the last time they cut a track like that. But I do enjoy the song. I mean, it's pretty much straightforward. Don't stop trying to loop yourself into the negative and look and see what you really have in front of you and appreciate the little things, in a sense, which I think is a really great message to be spreading around. On top of that, I mean, the flows are on point. The song itself is kind of got this boppy catch to it, so it's really cool. I do like how Violent J, you know, it really goes like, you got kids that love you, and if not, okay, you got a roof. Like, he really kind of shows you, like, to look at some things that maybe we take for granted, and that's one of the main things I took from this. Speaking of that, in verse in Shaggy Tudo's verse, we find out he doesn't really like being taken for granted. He doesn't like, you know, he wants to make sure that his time is respected and it makes sense, and that even if he chooses to waste it on whatever it is, that's his choice. But he kind of feels like when other people are fucking with his time, that's the bigger issue, which I think, again, is another message we could all really kind of just listen to and really kind of think about and kind of like work on ourselves, is kind of where I'm getting at from this track as well. But for me, this landed at a 4. It was an okay song.
All right, the next one is definitely not seriously hilarious.
Fear, Satan's rage, and they've always said just wait, it gets worse with age.
Sometimes you get what you asked for, and it's not what you wanted, and that's what you find out. So Violent J decided he's gonna rap his ass off on this one. He's coming in with like his almost like old school sounding rap flows, you know? None of that theatrical bullshit. Well, not none of it, but like he's toned it right the fuck down for this one. But I don't really know what this song is really about. I mean, it's very clear that maybe it's like about how people think they're fucking funny and like society makes fun of them and like the world's most hated band. And then I wondered if it had to do with guys like Twisted and Magic Ninja Entertainment and that whole beef and shit.
I thought
I don't know.
It just sounded like I may have taken it like very mainstream, but people are trying to ride the Juggalo wave and y'all ain't really down to be with us. Like, we kind of just do this shit.
Well, that's
solo.
definitely like in the second verse, like for sure.
Right. I feel like, I don't know, mate. I kind of just took that there was this like level of people are trying to like wave ride or like trying to be part of something that they don't really know, and like they're trying, or isn't it like in the artists are trying to follow the trend of being that too?
Like I said, that's in like verse 2, but I don't know. It just feels like verse 1 is like towards anyone. Like, oh, you think we're funny? Oh, you think we got jokes and we're just a hilarious fucking music act? Which, like, because they do this Inner City Posse, which is like their name before ICP. Like, this is some early shit, which, like, I feel like this song makes sense 15 years ago, or even maybe more recent, but like from what I can tell, that stigma of everyone, I mean, in my circles, in my world, the stigma of everyone hates ICP is not a real thing anymore. If it is, I can't figure out what prompted this song or what its purpose is on this album. It sounds to me like Violent J whining at me for 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever the song length is, that people don't take them seriously and people like take advantage of them, and there's almost nothing about this song that's fight back. It's just we roam alone, but they don't roam alone. They got a whole fucking crew. They shout out love and crew and squad like all the fucking time. How are you also roaming alone? Like, this one just felt so fucking weird. Like all I'm saying, like, it just doesn't make sense. How do you go from being, yo, we got the Juggalo family, we squad on like every album, and now you're just like mad and petty and you're roaming alone on the album where you're making fun of people for being mad and petty? All of that confused the shit out of me. So I'm hoping somebody out there can like break this one down for me and be like, that makes sense. Or maybe you're right. Maybe it is just people who call themselves Juggalos now. Maybe people call themselves Juggalos now because y'all aren't hated anymore. I don't know. I'm confused by this one. It's like technically proficient. It's just uninteresting. It just feels so like it shouldn't have been on this album to me. It wasn't hilarious. I get it. I get the irony of the title. I just think this was a miss, man. I give it a 4. It didn't belong on this album.
Well, like, actually, I mean, okay, so even in verse 1, right? Wait. So in verse 1, there's no names, take a beef stance, claiming they'll hurt mine, but when the chance come, when that chance come, that stance in the merch line, they're only heard half.
Yeah, it's like, to me, is like, oh, you guys all talk such a shit, but then you're coming and buying my merch or your whatever. Or
so, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it still feels like they're really just calling out people who claim to be part of their shit.
If anything, so that's a specific thing, right? If I'm not, because this is...
So then what? This would be fans.
Well, no, hear me out. So, if I'm not mistaken, when Magic Ninja Entertainment and they split from Psychopathic and Twisted and shit left, they still wanted to sell their Juggalo merch at like the show or whatever. They still wanted all that merch money. Like, that's what I thought of when I heard that line. I was like, is that a shot at Twisted? Like, I don't, because nobody annotated it, and it's fucking it's ambiguous as all shit. Like, it doesn't belong on this album. It just sounds like Fearless Fred's gonna show up and spank him for writing this shit, is my thoughts on this one. Or maybe this is the manifestation of what Fearless Fred Fury did to him over this situation. Again, I could go on for days about how confused I am, and I'm pretty good at going on at length for no good reason, so I don't have anything more to say on this one.
I gave the song a 3.7.
Do you have anything more to say on it?
Not particularly. You cleared everything, and I don't really understand it. Besides that, it sounds like, yeah, y'all are talking like you want to be like us, but you don't.
I'm also pretty sure this is one of 2 songs where Violent J actually says Juggalo on this album.
So that is my thesis of that song.
That's fair. as has been the case, it's like we go up one and I'm really loving it, and then the next one's kind of down and I'm not really loving it. Well, game over, because I like this one.
Thought I died at the TV, they shook me. Mom cooked for me, took a look, mistook me for a Wookiee. I say
Sometimes you ask for something and then you just get it, and it's not disappointing like the previous song. Because I feel like while Violent J does a lot of the cinematic-y kind of shit on this, the verses was proper fucking rapping. Like, it's just nice. I mean, it's very story-driven. The whole song paints the picture of this kid who games too much, and every verse goes a little bit further. Like, he's a teenager, then he's in his 20s, and then in verse 3 he's in his 30s, a professional fucking burnout. Now, what I love about this song is that I know somebody in my family who it fits very fucking well. Very, like, I mean, not exactly, but there's a lot of parts of this song where I picture him and I'm like, that does sound like you, dude. I mean, obviously this is exaggerated, but he's also not 34 yet, so we'll see what happens when he gets there. But I thought it was so imaginative because, look, here's the thing. Video games, in a sense, are not that different than drugs. If used in moderation and with understanding of how your time goes, it's pretty cool. But when you use video games to build your social life to a point where you maybe don't meet people in real life. Now listen, if you're in a room in Iowa and you don't have a choice because you don't have any fucking neighbors, I'm not judging it. I'm saying that if your entire life becomes this obsession to just get back onto the game, to go talk to your boys online and shit, who you've never met and aren't really there for you, they're just people you game with that are here for the now. Like, all I'm saying is, I'm not judging it. I know of people who got married on World of Warcraft and all sorts of shit, so I'm not against it. But this is describing the extreme, which is unfortunately realistic, and like, I don't know, man. In like a era where professional video gaming is a real thing, there is the side where you're training to be a professional gamer, and then there's the side where you're just kind of sitting in a room avoiding responsibility by playing video games. You decide that your priorities of like basic human aspirations don't matter anymore because of video games. And that's kind of what this song really points out in multiple parts, like especially later on, like carpal tunnel syndrome, only 3 fingers left working, was still enough for me to claim I'm an expert in my profession, and my profession is fictional. I don't get paid. I earn lives in digital. You know, like, just this idea that as long as I can keep playing my game, I'm a super happy guy. I can sit on my couch, I can do my thing, and I can just keep playing, and it's all good. And when this game's done, when this life is boring, well, there's a whole new one waiting for me. As far as just the creative storytelling parts of it, he's basically in the second verse yelling at kids and shit. And one of my favorite fucking parts is like, tell the bitch eat a dick talking shit in my ear hole. He fucking called me fat though. How the fuck did he know? And I thought that was the most hilarious shit, because then he goes on to wonder if there's some camera on his mic. And here's the thing. If you ever hung out with stoner gamers, I'm talking about the stupid stoner type, the ones who get high to play video games, not get high because they get high. And then, you know, once they get high, that kind of motherfucker who actually makes those kinds of noises. And then they have a moment like that. How do you know I'm fat, bro? Oh, shit. Yo. What if there's a camera and the microphone? Like, what if they can see us?
I'm done.
Oh, fuck. I was just jacking off.
I'm done.
Oh, shit. What if that 9-year-old kid saw me beating my meat? You know, like, the problem is, and maybe it's not a problem, it's that I know multiple people in my past, let's say, people I don't necessarily congregate with today, that is a real conversation, okay? That shit happens. Exactly like how he describes here. So I'm just like, damn, that's good. That is like spot on in terms of the exaggerated version of the reality, okay? Spot fucking on. Because it's not everybody, but it is some people. And these people will rewrite their priorities to justify this habit, and everyone else is a fucking asshole. And they are often people who really do fit into the general narrative of this album of self-pity, self-indulgent little wankers who have no accountability or responsibility in their life. So whereas the last one, I couldn't for the life of me figure out why it's on this project. I mean, this is it, man. This is This is one of the nicest songs on this project.
So like in a sense, this song is kind of looking towards towards a lack of ambition in a way. Like
But
it seems like, because I'm trying to figure out like how this would affect Fearless Fred Fury.
because the kind of person who's escaping to video games to this extent, who blows off basic life responsibilities for the sake of video games, is often the same type of person
Who won't fight back or anything.
who just fights back in video games, because fighting back in real life, even taking showers and shit, is too much effort. Too hard to try in life. I'm gonna sit here in my corner and you can leave me alone and fuck off if you don't like me. Like, that's who it is who's doing this. So I think that, because look, if you game, that's cool. I game. I had Civilization running like fucking crazy over this week, but I mean, my entire life is not gaming. And I think that if your entire life is any one thing, there might be a problem. Unless that one thing is making you hella cheddar, in which case I take that back. Well, maybe. I don't really know your life. But what I'm trying to imply here is, if you're using escapist things, something that does parallel drugs with your dopamine release and shit in your brain activity, and you're using it to escape life, that's problematic. And that's when Fearless Fred's gonna show up and fuck up your day. I mean, I didn't go through a lot of the lyrics and shit. This is the concept of what this song is about. I mean, the delivery is excellent. He fucking flows on through with each verse. The choruses are really interesting. It sets up the premise of what's going on for the next verse, kind of making fun of him. Like, yo, you're just fucking disgusting, bro. Like, you look gross. Yo, you want a game? You just want to go game, bro? You know, like, you just get that kind of feeling of what's going on. I don't know. This was amazing to me. And then it has the little skit at the end, which kind of builds up the next one, where dude kind of shoots back some shit and then flows into the next song. That was a cool little skit, and it's more relevant to when we introduce the next song. But I get this a 4.75 on 5. This is this is a song to check out on this project.
I gave the song a 4. I just kind of felt like they were commenting on gamers, people who enjoyed playing games or whatnot. Now, I do understand there is a level of
It's not just gamers.
No, but I do understand that there is like a level of extremity. Like, it's not.
He knows
just...
the person I'm talking about. That's why he keeps making those faces.
Needless to say, there is. I just, for me, the song itself was really cool and was presented really well, and like the description and the kind of comments that they were being used in the song was also. They're very real comments. Like, these are things that I've had people, like, I've overheard people say to other people. So I have friends like this. I've said this to some of my friends too. Like, I'm not.
That's the part Chris doesn't like. Is this song about me?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not debating any of that. I'm just saying that for me, the song was just very well driven towards that. But I'm not really going to go back and listen to this song multiple times to give it like a 4.2 or a 4.5 or anything like that. And the beat itself was, yeah, it was cool. It had this weird gamey, arcadey feel to it, and it suit the thing. But there's only so much arcade noise I can deal with before I get annoyed. So I am leaving it with a 4.
Anyway, so then there's that skit at the end where Buddy's like, yo, how'd you get here? And it sounds like he's in hell. So he's died and he's down there. Yo, so you gotta understand, I was with this girl and she wasn't that hot. Wanted to fuck. So I found this bottle of Red Rum. I just shot that back, this putrid shit, and then I went on a fucking rampage. And that's what the next song is, The Night of the Red Rum. Alright, Chris, how do you feel about this murderous adventure?
It's very fun. It's very high driven, energetic. The storytelling, again, Violent J does a really great job in the terms of storytelling. It was really cool. I followed along, but I don't really have much to say about this. He drank the Red Rum. He ends up, stabbing the girl he's with in the boob and then killing her with a rock because she chased him. In like verse 2, he's walking around with a bloody hoodie and then he picks up a hooker and then, kills her.
Listen,
so,
he camel clutch, bent the bitch back all the way back until the slut snapped the back of her head tucked in her butt crack.
Killed her. Thank you, Holden.
You're just like very much short shelling the descriptive nature of Violet J.
Because I mean, like, I don't really want to discuss any of this descriptive nature. I'm still slightly battling, you know, getting over my sickness, and I don't want to.
Do you know what a bedlam is?
No.
Let's see. It's
Oh,
part
here
of
we
the
go.
hook.
Here we go.
I didn't know this word before today.
Watch it be
So,
some weird
A
fucking
sense of
torture stuff.
uproar and confusion. An institution for the care of mentally ill people. Red rum, yum, yum, bedlam. I just want to throw that out. Because if you don't know what that word means, you don't even know that that's a good line.
I mean, the chorus is nice. The chorus is good. That's overall, the song isn't bad. It's really funny. It's one of those, like, this is a silly adventure we went on, and this is everything that happened. He ends up killing a cop and joggers and all this stuff, and everybody just ends up dead, and it's a really fucking crazy
So
cool
does
joke.
he. So, and then my head, with a piece of glass, I cut her throat and heard a loud pop. So now he's in the third verse. He goes to a titty club,
Yep.
and he's like,
Beats the bouncer.
and then he's killing the girl, and then he just pops. Behind me, brain swapped, hit the meter, bartender's dead shot, on spot, never saw the red dot, because there's a red dot to like target his head. You can't necessarily see it if you're in the middle of murdering people. That's kind of what I'm taking from it. Everywhere, spread hair and skull chips, head slop. Okay, so his brain splattered. Said the head cop, fuck him, the shit was red hot. So the cop in charge said, kill him, just do it, get him out. And props for that cock who shot the lead and never said stop. So he's in good spirit, thankful to the person who killed him because he gets it. I mean, this song just kind of follows up shit like Night of the Chainsaw. Done a bunch of drugs, go fucking crazy. Face the theme. I guess your fury, if it unlocks, could lead to one of the many mass shootings that go on in America on a near daily basis. So, I mean, it's not a completely implausible thing that an Insane Clown Posse fucking song could happen at this point in time.
Right.
Either way, I enjoyed this one more. I thought it was a little like, okay, Jay's rapping. It's got a good feel to it. It isn't trying too hard. Everything's proper. It's kind of got imaginative shit. Like, nothing about this is exceptional. Nothing about this is bad. This is a good freaking song where if you are wanting to go listen to a nice violent bloody spree, it would add into the good collection of tracks they've done. I like Night of the Chainsaw better, but it's pretty close to like that feeling for me, and I really like that. So I give this a 4.25, and I don't really have a lot more to say about this one. It was pretty fucking straightforward, comedic if you're into that kind of thing.
It got a 4.
The next one is fucking interesting. Why don't we talk about Low? What's your name? Who's your daddy? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Was he rich like me?
Really
Oh,
good
shit.
song.
That's Time of the Season. That's a good, really, really good song. Low is not a bad song, considering they're fucking with a really good song. It is basically taking Time of the Season and doing some really weird shit with it, in my opinion, just in a whole different direction. But like, he keeps like the main like flow of it, like, I am mink, I'm that cheetah, when I sink my fangs. Like, he keeps that shit going, and I'm like, is this really happening? Like, he's singing low, I guess. I don't really know. And the song's fine in terms of like its content. I can't say like that the content really blew me away. I was just more bamboozled on how well it worked as a song. Like, I like you, hey, I like you, low. That's the whole chorus thing. It's not a lot going on there. Still, with the doom 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 doom, it just carries it so well. And then that like second verse, are you clean? Because I'm dirty, like a wet blood stain. I'm that clap in that netting, about to infect that wang. I'm like, I guess if you're low and dirty, you are kind of like the VD that's about to infect you. And it's just kind of gross and shit. But then absolutely one of the best parts of the song is when they drop the premise and then Shaggy comes in with his fucking dope ass part, like antifreeze in your cola, low, the Ayatollah, low down, Ebola, low, the high that to own ya, low down. And it's just a bunch of bad shit, honestly. That's all I can see about this song. It's a bunch of bad shit, and he's like representing all the darkness, and it's almost like this like love song to everyone from Fearless Fred. Like, I am the worst. And that's kind of all that's really happening in this song. I think the brother is Hulk Hogan's brother. I could be wrong, or they're making fun of it. Still, I don't know that there's a lot more for me to say about this. I do think Shaggy stole the show again. I think Shaggy has outperformed Jay in a lot of places on this album, just in what I'm interested in these days. Maybe in a year or two I'll change my mind. A couple years back I was always violent Jay over Shaggy. This is the first time I've ever felt like that. But it's a 4.35. It's pretty good.
I liked it. I like how they kind of changed the song. I did go back and listen to the original song, so I had a feeling of what they kind of changed with it, and it was cool. I like the whole part of being low, of feeling like beneath. This feeling of like, I want to say no return. I want to say like feeling incapable, and they're kind of just setting up this imagery of like that's where we are in the album right now. We're at a very low point. We're at a very the character is the character who we are dealing with, whether it be Fearless Fred Fury or whoever this like person or being is that Fred is infecting or consuming or whatever. They're at a very low point. That's kind of what I took. I like the kind of mellow, dramatic, really low voice that is being used on the song. That was also kind of cool as well. But other than that, it was very short. It wasn't like a really long track. Felt short, at least to me, and I gave it a 4.
All right, the next track is definitely imaginative is a good word for it. It's called Triplex. Triplex? I don't know. All right, Chris, tell us all why you love this song.
Because it's a really cool interpolation of what a serial killer, a cannibal, and I haven't really figured out the third one yet because it's kind of fucked. And what I guess a psychiatrist or a doctor or somebody who is kind of like a mad doctor or something like that who's playing life.
3
with
murderers and 1 morbid man.
Well, yes, that is essentially the chorus of the song, and I really do like it. I like how they presented this. There's this song, they're rapping, but they're in a conversation, and they're getting introduced into different ways. There's 3 main characters. There's Eddie, there's Hank, and there's Dan. From what I understand, Eddie is a serial killer. He keeps getting like these visions.
He kills women. He seems to always be killing girls. Like bloody red, bloodshed, guff toes, and death, hating women. I kill him till I ain't none left. So he's like really into killing women.
Right. Hank is a cannibal from what I understand.
Hank has the best part of the song. Let's just be clear. When Hank's verse kicks in and he's like, just any one of his 3 verses, and you got that, in the background, just offbeat, randomly being thrown around. I want to fuck a fat lady and have babies. You're just like, what? This is just awesome. I love them and shove them in a fat microwave oven. Oh, and you're just like, this is the best fucking verses of all of them. Yeah.
And Dan, I don't know if you have, like, if you've noticed anything or whatnot, he's just kind of really, like, fucked up. He's, like, dating some girl who's a dude who, like, wants him to kill his family, and he's just listening to whatever this dude girl's saying.
And then he changes, and then he kind of kills her and kills his friend after as he's fucking the mom. Yeah. And then
it's
whatever. Honestly, I'm fine. Eddie's whatever. Eddie's just killing women. He's boring. But let's talk about Hank again. Hank again. Look here. I chewed off my own toe. The pain was vicious, but that shit was delicious. I ate my left hand too. You think it's dumb shit. I don't know though, yo, because it was scrumptious. Of course, with the ons. Best verses. It's just, I don't know. The voice to everything works. And then obviously verse 8 of this song in verse 3 when he comes back. I shot an athlete in the head and ate his heart for a start. I shot a scholar in the heart and ate his brain for the smarts. I shot a porn star and ate his joint to be dick strong, but it caught full-blown AIDS, so I'll be gone before this song. And then the it's a different that was the best part of the song for me. The rest I can do without the rest of it. Just give me Hank.
No. I want the whole song. This song was good. I really liked how they kind of cinematically just kind of did this, and I really kind of just saw like it kind of play out, and I like how they're all crazy, how all four of these people are crazy. Even the doctor, like, even at the end, the doctor kind of like panics and he's like, you know what, I'm done. Like, Eddie, I'm gonna go see my wife because
he's like, hey, what's your wife like? And he goes into the proper Violent J voice for that. He just drops all voices. Hey, Doc, what about your wife?
Right. Hank, he like tells Hank to eat his balls, and Dan, he's just like, you're fucked up. I don't even know what to say. But I feel like even though he did kind of flip out, throughout the song, there is this sense of like kind of like demented genius, demented lab doctor who's like, you know, what did you remember? Do you remember doing this? Maybe I have to up your medication.
It sounds like proper therapy. Like, it sounds like 3 therapy sessions over time.
No, it's not. I feel like it sounds like they're in the same room.
No, they are, but group therapy.
Oh, okay.
Like, everyone's in a circle. Okay, now Chris, how are you feeling?
Right.
How are you feeling? And then a week later, and because he's like giving them things to like do each week. Okay, you got to work on your anger. Now, since we said to work on your anger, fuck that. I'm gonna kill Kim Kardashian or
Right.
Khloe or whatever. I don't know.
Either way, I gave the song a 4.5. I thought it was brilliant.
That's all right. The truth is, it's nobody's fucking fault, Chris.
Shit, I'd rather die. I'd rather stick a fucking chicken skewer through my eye.
I like this one. First of all, trip on a slut slush, shit's a must. At night I grip my nuts and flick the tip till it erupts, putting sperm everywhere. And then, like a clean person, unlike the gamer dude, he wipes it up. He doesn't just lie in his filth. Very courteous. But this is a really interesting song. Because on the one hand, you have Violent J literally just moping. It's nobody's fault but my own that my life sucks. But he does it in like a really like pensive, self-aware, morose singing way, like, Mama, I can't seem to make a fucking friend. Like, he has that kind of like a voice to it. Like, he's soft and he's sad and he's just trying to get through and shit. But what really makes this song interesting is Shaggy's ad-libs. Like, fuck him. What? Or like, to the simple fact I'm dumb as fuck. And Shaggy's like, what? What? Nah. Like, you're not dumb. So while the whole way through you have Violent J like moping and whining, and it's fine. Like, it actually really fits the song. It's just literally what he's doing. To have Shaggy as like a juxtaposition, almost responding to him saying, you're fucking crazy, dog. You're better than that. You can do this. And then it's really soft and really like calm, and then that chorus is just nice, and it just like pours out and shit, like, and the beat is beautiful and like serene almost in this pleasantness, and you get the sense that this also like fits into the theme, you know. My shit never flies, believe me, no one tries. Surprise, the doctors tell me that my head is sick, my brain is mad jacked up thanks to Fred and Flip, and in fact, fuck, I will never give. I fight back, a scrub will forever live. So when you really think about it, it's almost like this is another type of person that is going to get infected by Fred. This person who's like, you know, maybe they're accountable in a sense. They say the words and shit, but really all this person is doing is like, I can't change. Everything's terrible. I'm going to go through all of this stuff. And this type of person, in my opinion, can end up turning into like the rage type filled person, because Fred's going to prey on you if you're like this. You have to fight back. And then, I mean, at the end, it's kind of like, and in fact, a fuck I will never give. I fight back, a scrub will forever live. And like, I question that a bit. I'm like, so wait, does he fight back? Like, I don't really understand how that fits into it.
I feel like there's kind of like wanting to, okay, so there's feeling like you can't do anything, and then there's wanting to ride that depressive wave. It's
Right.
kind of how I took it. And I feel like this is kind of targeting people who are kind of like, you know, poor me, but refuse to really ever acknowledge that they choose to, like, you know, their friends, their decisions, and their blah, blah, blah. Like, they kind of just brush it off. And then there's the other people who kind of, like, act as if it's like, poor me, but they're well aware of what is going on. Like, they're well aware of the actual...
So I agree with that. It's just those last lines when he brings up Fred and Flip and how he's all of a sudden going to fight back and shit. And I just didn't understand how that was. That like, after all this, he gets inspired by it and now he's going to fight back?
Well, I feel like he's fighting back to be that self-loathing person, is what I'm trying to say. Like, he's
Okay.
not trying to fight back to be like, oh yeah, let's retaliate and be better. No, he's like, I accept Fred. I accept the destruction. I like being mentally
Okay.
blah 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 blah. That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
I like this one though. I give it a 4.5. I thought this was one of the stronger ones on this project. Like, we're at an up, not a down.
I liked it. It was just a little softer for me in general. Like, if this was any other album, it's still a very softer track. So I think it was really cool the way that they kind of just showed their. Because I feel like there was also some self-acknowledgement in this song. They're like talking about, you know, I can't really make friends, and it's because I don't know how to do it, and I feel like people suck and shit like that. And it's like there is a little bit of, you have to pay acknowledgement to what you've done as well. You can't just be like, well, it's your fault, this fault, that one, blame, pointing fingers and whatnot. You have to kind of acknowledge what you chose to do and the decisions you've made as well, and kind of live with them and grow from them, is what I'm getting from this. In a way, again, like a theme that I've really kind of stuck through this entire album so far is there's a lot of these dark, twisted, you know, kind of very like energetic songs, but there also seems to be these very positive type of messages underlining it, where it's like, you know, you can do this if you just believe in yourself, if you just kind of get over this, because then you have to deal with Fred, and that's not something you want to deal with, or whatever the case is. Overall, I think I gave the song around like a 4 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I gave the song a 4 on 5. It was oddly catchy to me, but just overall, it was just more slower paced.
All I'm trying to say is don't get too hot head like when you're listening to this.
My balls as ordered by my secret fairy.
There are 17 songs on the album, so we must hear 17. Yeah, this is bad. I don't want to say too bad. Like, it's well made. The beat's kind of cool, but Violent J sounds like trash to me. Here I go again. You know, just whatever. It doesn't sound really cool. Literally nothing in his verse is impressive to me. I get it, creepy, hoary, gory, but his delivery is not fun. The chorus is like, everything between my ears is burning, everything's building up pressure. So, you know, I guess it's kind of a response to the last song a bit, if you're gonna pretend like everything is my fault, blah, blah, blah. Well, now you're gonna maybe snap.
I mean, I can
But
understand
then 1, 2, fire on you, 3, 4. He can't stuff 17, okay? They did 8 bars of that shit, dude. 8 bars of that shit, plus 4 more bars where they just say 17. That is 12
at
bars.
the end too.
Yeah. It's just too many bars that is counting bullshit. On a done to death trope. Like, when DMX did this shit in the 90s,
And
that was kind of the end.
even at the end of it, when they repeated the 17, they switched the beat into some type of trap feel.
It's
I think,
fucking
too.
weird,
And
man.
yeah, no. I don't have anything good to say about this song. I understand if you're connecting it from the last track in a way where it's like you're kind of raging in your head and you're explaining to people why you feel so self-loathing or self-destructive or whatnot. Like, I get that, you know, the thoughts and the memories are all cool, but this song is not good. The
See,
beat's
here's
nice,
the thing.
but
When I really don't like a song, I'll often listen to it just one more time, and 90% of the time I'll find redeeming qualities. When I tried to listen to this one more time, I went about a minute, and I said, you know what? The next song is really fucking good. I don't want to listen to this shit anymore. And that's literally what happened. I don't like this one. It's well made, and maybe there is an audience for it, but it sounds lazy, and it sounds kind of whatever. So it's a 3.5. Like, this isn't good. It's pushing fucking boring. It's not quite bad, but it's really pushing it. Like, it's heading in that direction. Like, there's no song on the Flip the Rap project like nothing. The whole Flip the Rap project's better than this. Like, I don't know how this made the album proper. And like, I don't know. There's no Shaggy. There's no redeeming qualities here. It's just whatever.
so just
Sorry, go on.
just to give my grade, as a new, like, first time listener, new to the Juggalo world and the Dark Carnival, Don't show me this as the intro track.
Don't show anybody.
Like this isn't the song.
Watch, this is gonna be like the next single, and our comment section is just
Yeah, we're
flooded
about to
with
get murdered, but
this is it. This is the biggest banger.
Right, but I gave this a 3 on 5. Just even as like a first listen, like as a new listener, it didn't really.
Okay, look. The thing is, we can sit here and talk about this crap, but why don't we talk about Shimmer? Shimmer's fucking good.
I don't know how to make her go away, and I'm really, really scared.
Like, this might be the best song on the album. No bullshit. Like, it's imaginative. It's 4 crazy verses telling you this really interesting story. And this story is essentially the album's main point. So you come into this place and, you know, like his parents aren't around. Like, it's clearly a dysfunctional home. Like she was a bad girl who liked to cause agony. I guarantee now she wants to terrify and bury me. That's the Shimmer demon. I'm used to sodomy. My dad's a demon and my mom is drunk and good for nothing but something to stuff his semen in. You know, like, that sounds like this kid's in a bad home and like even pushing some pedophilia type shit happening. I don't want to go that far, but I think he wrote it in a loose way where this demon can represent any of the bad circumstances in your life. But it's specifically this little creature who like feasts on this baby. He's like killing it, like holding a child, and some shit's going on and she's staring at it. And then as he tries to go and get help, like nothing happens and nobody's willing to help him. And in fact, his like stepdad slaps him or whatever for even trying to get help. And then he like puts a Bible in the thing and it comes out bloody, and he sees this person and he gets to a point where he's just finally willing to embrace it because he can't spend his whole life afraid of this thing, and death would be better than like having to look into the eyes of this demon thing every single day of his life in fear. So he confronts it, and this is what actually just defeats it, and everything is gone. Like, it just ends like, in my hands the Bible, the one I left there, it was no longer bloody and all the pages were clear, her wretched smell gone, the air was warm, and for the first time in years I felt a calm. From that night forward, Shimmer was aborted. I can't help but feel my bravery was rewarded. And then you get the little clowny voice thing. It's like, stop being, you know, you want to be rewarded too, then quit being a pussy queef and let your nuts hang. Do like your boy Willoughby. Do some crazy shit, sure. But I think the point is, like, that's supposed to be a little bit extreme, but like, first of all, this song's beat is amazing. It's like when Tech 9 made that like 5-minute movie song on Planet, I think it was, or the one before. It's like this crazy experience, and it's so well thought out. Like, this Shimmer could be a Joker card for, like, in my opinion, how well thought out this song is. Like, maybe not. Maybe I'm stretching. But, like, it's so complete. Like, when he advertised this album as these cool story-type experiences, this is what I was expecting. A lot more of this. This was great. And it has a narrative, and it fits everything. And it's just so out there and cool, and like the Triplex is like creative in a wonky way,
No, absolutely.
an extreme way.
Absolutely.
This is imaginative as fuck. Like, this is next level to me.
This is literally, and this is literally what a lot of like horror movies would depict in terms of like what I've seen or whatnot. Like, I can really picture this kind of like grudge looking, you know, Shimmer type character being created out of all the negativity and all the pain and the agony and the tragedy that this, you know, kid character goes through. Now, it's a really good story. It's really, really good. And again, there's this sense of overcoming Shimmer, overcoming the fear, and there's a lot of this like fight back, rebel. It's like what I've noticed about the album and so far with ICP is they'll give you some shocking rap, extreme rap, story, blah, 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 that like really is kind of gruesome, dark, or however. But there's always this sense of like, but you can overcome it. You can do this. You can be better. You can whatever. And that's what I really actually kind of like about them so far, is that everything kind of seems like a lesson as a message. Even this song, Shimmer, it seems like the whole story, as much as it's beautiful to listen to and you really kind of get captivated into the story itself, there's still this idea of like, you can overcome it. You can let go of that demon. You can fight it. You can get through whatever the obstacle or the hurdle is in front of you.
That's fair. And when you do take on Shimmer and you win, you are left with freedom, like William Wallace says, motherfucker.
Fred game, I tap that ass. Might see me ugly first, but with this swag, that shit don't last.
I really like this song. I don't think this is as good as the last song, but I feel like I like it as much as the last song.
It's catchy and it's upbeat.
It's like, okay, this is really where it was. Crewed up like Scooby-Doo, but with Shaggy we best of friends. No ICP for him without me, for me ain't none without him. Okay, that was fine. It's like, yeah, camaraderie and freedom and shit. And then, of course, who steals the show? Shaggy steals
Staggy.
Shaggy steals the show. I'm free to study, a robber dealer of the money. Rain or sunny, I can get high with a buddy. Freedom funny. It's just, his flow there makes the song. Just that part. And then Violent J does his part. Hey, okay. His okay is so good, man. Right at the beginning, this shit is yours. Okay. Hey, like that is just his ad-libs there. It's like a step up of every other ad-lib, I think, in the rest of the album.
Okay.
And it just sounds so positive. And this is kind of like, instead of giving you some dark lecture about what will happen to get like Fred to show up, here's the other way to live. Just be free. I'm free to do whatever. I'm free to boogie. I'm free to woogie woo. You know, like you're free to just do shit.
No, you know what that means. I don't.
It's off the Great Malenko. It's a song called Boogie Woogie Woo. It's a banger and you should listen to it. I got to see it live while they sprayed Faygo at me. Anyway.
You're like so happy about
Dude,
that.
I don't know that I can go to a concert and not get sprayed by Faygo now. Like, the experience I had with the Faygo and the stickiness and the whole thing, it made the concert so much better than every other concert I've seen. It was ridiculous. It could be the worst music, and if you spray Faygo at me, I might be more into your show. That's what I learned. Either way, this song's about be free to be you, do what you gotta do, and it's just so upbeat. That chorus is like, I'm free to go. You know, it's just like, it's free sounding and airy and uplifting, and it's where I believe the album should have ended. So this is really cool to me. I get this a 5. It's just kind of a really important song, I think, for a project as dismal as this, if your goal is in the more uplifting, be proactive type sense of it all. You know what I mean?
Well, I actually kind of think it's cool. And for me, when I first heard it, I was like, this is what I've been saying the entire album, is they're trying to give you a different perspective of life in certain situations, and this is just another situation that they want people to be positive for, and they want to just, you know, be free to do what you want, and you control your own life and you're independent. I gave this a 4 though. Just like, it was catchy, it was cool, but it wasn't anything so like, oh my god.
Also, if you can hear it, my neighbor downstairs is blasting their awesome alt rock shit. Like, they blast music so loud I can feel it, but they blast music I like so loud that I can't complain about it. Anyway, go on.
No, I don't have much else to say about the song, really. Like, it's a good song. It's pretty much self-explanatory. They just want you to be free to do what you want.
So I guess I was just trying to say, beware, the audio might get fucked because of my neighbor.
Back of the Fearless Fred Fury album is the
This is the most unnecessary piece of trash ever. What the fuck is this warning?
No, it makes sense for the next song.
I don't agree. The next song is not shocking enough. It is just not. Secondarily, the likelihood of like this warning being heard before the song for most people is not going to happen. Really, if this is going to be offensive as a standalone YouTube video, people are going to find it without beware. If they had slashed on that motherfucker and forced you to hear it each time, maybe. But really, when I heard the next song, I was like, that's that bad? Like, you guys fuck around with Isham. He didn't have to do that shit. Like, and if that's the point, if you are really that concerned with this offending people, like, for real, A, I thought you're fighting back and shit, and you don't really, whatever. But B, it's like when Eminem censors rape or faggot. It's like, if you really think it's a bad idea, just don't do it. Like, your warning is, Like, I don't know if it's a joke. Like, maybe it's a joke. Maybe it's like, oh, ha, 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 we're going to make a sick song, so we're going to put this warning as a little jokesy. Or it's super sincere, and everything I'm saying is fucking, like, real to me. Like, I literally thought this was a waste of 48 seconds of my life. Like, depending on what came next, I guess it's going to be a thing. But we'll talk about the next song when we get there, which is fine. I don't even dislike it. I just think this Beware was superfluous and unnecessary just to, like, inflate the track list. That's what it felt like. Oh, we need 17 songs. Now let's put that little warning in. I don't get it. It didn't do anything for me. I gave it a 2.
I gave it a 3. I thought it was a nice little break. It kind of hyped me up a little bit for the next track. So I think that there is some type of purpose. It's trying to build some type of suspense or mystery. So I kind of liked it. I thought it was cool. I did give it a 3 because it was only like 43 seconds and there wasn't like, they could have done so much more. Even in the intro, it was like 43 seconds and that was still like gave you a lot of, or maybe about a minute, and that would still give you a lot more. So that's really it.
Okay, let's talk about a snuff porn track. I Like It Rough.
Eternal eclipse. I'd like to hang and stab you, shower in and absorb your drips. Well,
Why is this worse than Night of Red Rum? Like, all things considered, there's nothing about this that's really that bad. I mean, the premise of the song is what? Like, oh, I'm gonna fucking kill you with my dick?
Well, no, like they're sleeping and they're fucking and then they're killing and then they're bringing them back to life and then they're raping them and like they're eating them and shitting on them. Like, I don't, okay, so the warning hyped me up to think that this was a really, really bad track.
And then
I listened to the track.
Allow me to I need to get this out. Let me choke you with your panties till your eyeballs roll
not
back.
This one.
Then you can choke me with your panties till you feel my shit snap. Then I can choke you with your panties till your tongue hangs out a foot long. Then choke me with your panties, slit my throat with your thong. Bitch, let me choke you with your panties till you're purple like rain. Then you can choke me with your... I can keep going for at least twice the amount I've done.
So, I don't know why now that I'm listening, now that I've heard the song and I've repeated it and tried to figure out where
What the fuck's the warning for?
Right. That's my issue now. Is that there's this... I've heard Brother Lidge Hung sound a little bit more disgusting.
I heard Isham sound a little bit more graphic.
So I don't really know where we're getting this warning from.
Like,
and on top of that...
Is it a joke?
What is the purpose of this song?
Oh, the song's fine. I actually really dig it. It's just like it's kind of like when Avenged Sevenfold wrote that Little Piece of Heaven, some crazy zombie love fucking song. Like, I'm actually like,
video.
I mean, I'm into S&M, so like I don't even hate extreme sex as an idea. It's kind of stigmatized, but this chorus is sick. What you know about romance, what you know about sex, what you know about suffering and gag reflect. Man, you just picture like a girl's face, fucking shove that shit down back of her throat. Like, that's some real shit people might want to do. You know, and then really the shocking part is what you know about reaching your peak in inches of death. A lot of people might be into that. That's maybe pushing it a bit for me, but it doesn't sound unappealing. What you know about my climax causing your last breath. I'm like, I guess that's extreme, so it's snuff porn. I mean, I think the actual act of doing this is fucked up, but I think him writing this song is right in line with the kind of weird shit.
Right.
Like, how is this different than, I'm a rape a girl? Oh, she's a little kid and I'll fuck her. Like, they'll say that kind of shit without a warning. I don't know if they haven't specifically made those jokes, but I wouldn't be shocked. Anyway, then the first verse I actually don't mind, you know. I'll like to hang and stab you, shower in and absorb your drips. Well, hey, run away with that blood red thong. I'd like to snatch you up and murder fuck you like King Kong. Like, it just sounds like a little more...
But I'm trying to understand, how are you supposed to catch her running if you're done showered in her blood?
I think it's more like one-off lines. It's not a narrative. It's like,
okay,
this is my fantasy, girl. Oh yeah, I want to do this to you, and I want to do that to you.
Bathe in your blood.
Yeah, that's what I picture. Run away. Tell me your illest desire. What? Want me to fuck you while my dick is on fire? Want me to chew your nipples off and spit them in your netting? What? That forbidden runaway?
What's a netting?
It's like sex. It's juggalo talk. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is this was not shocking enough for that warning. but it was a pretty good song.
It was.
I mean, like as a song, it sounded really cool. The bridge is pretty strong.
The flows were on point.
The like, lust is us and we bust dust. Like that's pretty good.
Yep.
Like all of it was proper. And had that warning not been there, I might have liked it even more. I got a 4.35. I totally do not think this should have been how the project ended. This is the weirdest fucking ending to this album. But whatever. I don't hate it.
I give it a 4.
Well, that's the end of the review. This is the part where we do our little sum up. I gave the Fearless Fred Fury project by the Insane Clown Posse a lesser grade than Flip the Rat. Flip the Rat's like fucking great. It's like a 4.45 on 5. This is more like a 4.27 on 5. Flip the Rat is pretty consistent with like Splish Splash in the middle. And it's alright. You got some vibes riding to it. Still not enough Shaggy. And the same thing on this project. Not enough Shaggy. But my feelings on this is that it's versatile to a point of experimentation where there's two things I want to point out. One, it ends up with like this up and down, like almost song to song. It's like you like one, you don't like the next. That was my experience. I haven't had that experience to such a drastic extent with an ICP project since I've been listening since like this second set of things. So I think that is something to be said. The other part is almost a compliment to that point. It's so all over the place in terms of sounds. And I was learning a fair bit about just how music gets made in a book I'm reading now. And given the technology available to us, I appreciate that Insane Clown Posse is willing to push experimentation and crossing genres and the ease and facility of a tool like Pro Tools to like the fucking max. They don't just use it in a boring way, whip out like 50 beats in a day type shit. They really make it interesting. So I thought that was cool, and I wanted to give them props for that. But as far as this album goes, there are songs on here I think are good, but I don't know if I like Fearless Fred Fury anywhere. I like Flip the Rat. I can go listen to Flip the Rat. That shit's dope. But I feel like this album was good, but there was just too many what the fuck moments. I don't know. What about you?
The album got a 4.1 on 5 for me. I enjoyed it. It was kind of what I guess I may have cocked up in my brain because I've seen them on television and stuff like that. So it is kind of goofy, silly, and entertaining in some way. But I don't know. I don't really have much to say about the album. It was good. It's just not for me. Like, I wouldn't be able to sit through this like willingly another.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I probably could. Give me like, let me go back to my regular music. Let me kind of bump some stuff.
Like, well, because because of super old school 1994's Patreon request, we've done Isham, Natas, however you say it, I don't care. And we just did somebody else, Gangsta Nip. And like these guys is dropping some shocking kind of extreme shit in a way that like it doesn't feel as silly as when Violent J does it. And I think it's the silliness that might hurt some of those songs, but it also might be a silliness that makes you watching this really enjoy it. And I've come to see that with music. It's so, we all like different things with it that it's hard for me to call something good or bad. So it's what I think is good versus what you think is good, you know, and it's all different.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so that's this one. Please let us know what you thought in the comments, anything you think about this album. Which did you like better, Flip or Fred? Which is cooler to you? Which project? If you've heard both, for me, it's Flip. Are you excited for the 5th and 6th new Joker cards coming? You know, just any kind of things. What Nintendo did you like the Nintendo Switch Direct that just happened? I mean, I'm kind of excited for some new Switch games. I digress. Now I'm getting nowhere. Special thanks to the patrons: Linda Williams, Super Old School 1994, Chris Prado, Carl J, and Ismail Dempsey. They support what we do. They want to help see us grow. We don't really make money on this. This is about growing and learning and hitting that next level. In my dream, we can all quit our jobs and full-time make banger-ass, killer, well-researched reviews, but that's not life right now. So if you got buzz out, we can grow, make a nicer set, build out the show, get more people involved, and all of that is with your help through there. In exchange, you get to force our hands because Patreon is picking more and more reviews. They will slowly take over a large section of what we do on this channel as more of them join. Can't help it. and you get access to content early and good shit like that. Anyway, if you don't like that, subscribe, like, and comment, please. I promise I'll answer all your comments for real. I really do, like I said earlier in the review. Anyway, on that note, I dropped a project recently. It's on Spotify and all that good shit. Hell, there are 5 songs of it on this channel. He has a song on this channel. You can check that out. Let us know what you think. We'll holla at you in the near future. And peace and love and all that good shit. Whoop, whoop.